Organizational systems influence on projects. Management elements could include the division of work. So if we have specialized skills or the availability to perform work, then we can go ahead and divide it up accordingly. Levels of authority which can be delegated down. Responsibility to perform work appropriately based on skill and experience. With discipline, this refers to the respect for authority, people, and the rules that we establish. Governance frameworks could occur at a variety of levels, including the portfolio, program, and project level. Governance ensures that we are following our rules, policies, procedures, norms, and relationships as we have defined them. If we find ourselves in a situation where policies or procedures are somehow preventing process optimization, then we may want to consider submitting a formal change request to modify them. However, we do always want to abide by everything that we set forth in our plan. Corporate and societal culture refers to not only our organization's culture, but also society overall. Depending where we are within a country or within a world, we may have very different cultural norms. So the expectations and norms that we may see, think about things such as the regular workday or how long people are allowed to take for a lunch period, or whether or not it's appropriate to send people emails and expect them to respond on nights or weekends, or whether or not they can take phone calls in the evening. There's also an issue of views of authority. In some organizations, power distance relationships mirror that of the local society. In countries that have a traditionally high power distance, you have situations where subordinates are very deferential to the authority of their superiors. However, in many other countries, you may have a lower power distance, in which case a boss may be on a first name basis with the people working for them. Finally, we have our organizational structure types. There are a large number of different organizational structures that we may see, and we will describe these a little bit more on the next slide. We have a very important note at the bottom of the slide that organizational structure is an enterprise environmental factor, meaning that is going to be outside of the immediate control and influence of the project management team. The PMBOK guide makes no statement preferring one type over another. Any one of these is perfectly fine for an organization to have. Let's go ahead and describe these going from left to right. Now, with this slide, we see that the project manager's authority is how we are ranking these different organizational structure types against one another, going from the left of little to no authority for the project manager, going to the right where we have almost total authority for the project manager. An organic or simple organization type is where we have a flexible structure where people are working side by side. The project manager, it may be a part-time role. It may not even be a designated job. Now, this is something where the resource availability is going to be very low as well, and you may or may not even have an administrative staff. A functional organization is where there's some type of department. So if we think about an IT department, for example, we have people working at the help desk, we have technicians on staff, there's a lot of things going on. And if we decide that we have to do a project manager may be assigned from there. So we may grab a developer and say, you're now in charge of this project. So it's going to be a pretty part-time job. Since the project manager is doing this in a part-time capacity, it's unlikely that they're going to have a whole lot of availability for resources, and control of the budget will be maintained by the functional manager, whoever's in charge of that IT department. Multi-divisional falls into the same type of situation, where we may go ahead and replicate functions for each division with minimal centralization. So again, we're still dealing with a part-time project manager with not a lot of authority. The different types of matrix organization going from weak to balanced to strong. With the matrix organizations, we see the project manager having some type of a technical background in the type of work that is being conducted. For a weak matrix, they're doing project work as part of another job. With a balanced matrix, the project manager may be embedded in the functions. Now, with a strong matrix, this is where you may have a dedicated full-time project manager with a job title of project manager. But this is where you're still working within a functional department. So you might be a project manager within the IT department specializing in delivery of IT projects. A virtual organization is where we will have a geographically dispersed team. It's going to be a network structure with nodes at points of contact with other people. Project manager could be full or part-time. You may have a staff that could be full or part-time. You may share control of the budget with someone else. It's going to depend on the specific situation that you find yourself in within the organization. For the PMO or project oriented, the project manager will be full-time. This where is a designated job role. You are on a career track as a project manager. You'll have a full-time administrative staff. You're going to have a very high level of authority. A final type is known as the hybrid organization, which we do not see represented here. The project manager's authority is variable in a hybrid organization. If you look in your PMBOK, a hybrid organization is basically described as being a mixed bag. So it could be any set of variables. It's entirely up to your organization to tailor it as appropriate.